Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are doing well out there, enjoying your Tuesday. I'm sorry, it is Tuesday. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your Tuesday. Keeping it positive, keeping it wonderful, and keeping it fun. Man, we got a lot to talk about and very little time to do it, so we got to jump into this thing. But hey, hopefully you guys are enjoying your time. Thank you all for starting to come in and be a part of the conversation this morning. Woo! Boy, oh boy. We got some things to talk about. Now, I was going to talk about this yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to. The day got away from me. That it dropped yesterday. Some autopsy information, some new details around the autopsy reports that came out yesterday afternoon. I mean, I'm not kidding. It was just like right after I did my live, or actually right before I did my live, revolve around the case of the missing 4-year-old boy by the name of Cody Bigsby, and the fact that the cops came out with some more information denying the father, the person of interest, by the way, a right to an attorney, a right to have legal representation when he asked for it twice. That's a whole the Charles Dickens story, but I found out about this story right before I was going live. Didn't get a chance to go through the documents and all that and see what actually was revealed. There are some things in this report that I find a little strange. And of course, we got to jump into it and talk about it. So, I feel like there's never going to be a solid cut, clean cut report. There's always going to be some sort of new piece, right? There's going to be some new piece that's going to add to this story. There's going to be more and more questions that keep going over and over and over again. And it's very frustrating. But there are some things that have been confirmed, been confirmed. Now, I know I saw some of you guys in the chat already, some of y'all on Facebook and Twitch making comments and basically saying like, hey, you know, he's still alive. Well, we're about to go through some things. This might change your mind. I really do think that he not here anymore, and they found him. And we're gonna look at this. We're gonna look at the autopsy reports, look through all that stuff. I do have an article here I want to pull up as well. That's gonna kind of sum things up a little bit quicker because, like I said, can't be here for a long time, but I'm here for an informative and good time with all y'all. So before we get going, please hit that like button down below. Hit it, crush it, destroy it, make it call out your damn name. All right. And do not forget to hit that subscribe button. All right. Be really great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. Anyway, we got to get into things. Brian Laundrie, if you don't know who Brian Laundrie is, Brian Laundrie, I'm going to throw up a photo of him and his girlfriend, Gabby Petito. But Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito were out hiking. And I'm gonna sum this up as quickly as I can so we can get to the things. But this is very, very broad strokes. But they went out. They were doing the van life, enjoying themselves, and then all of a sudden, Brian Laundrie comes home with Gabby Petito's or their car, but it's their van. But the van is registered under Gabby Petito's name. Family sits there. The Petito family is basically saying, hey, where's our daughter, right? Where's Gabby? He basically disappears, right? There was a huge search for him in the Carlton Reserve. And, well, as we already know, after weeks of a manhunt in the Carlton Reserve, his remains were actually finally found. out there. Now, everybody has been having these questions, right? We've all had questions of what actually happened to him, what went down, and all that. And like I said, we're going to be looking at a few things. And there's a few, it's like I said, there's some strange, there's a lot of strange pieces that I think are going to pop up. There's one strange piece that is sticking out to me, but anything is possible. But we're going to look into some things. The report is finally out. But before we go into the actual report, I do have something from the Daily Mail that kind of gives us kind of a brief breakdown. Okay, so we're going to look at this here really quick, and then we're going to look at the autopsy report as well. But here it is. Okay, Brian Laundrie's body was scavenged by wild animals, including coyotes, after he unalived himself in the head. All right. Autopsy report reveals. Cops say they found a note admitting to a Gabby Petito's murder in a quote-unquote dry bag along with photographs. Now, apparently there were 2 notebooks and a half note and a half written note, like a half note, if that makes any sense. Okay. So we got to look at this thing, but it is just some strange stuff here. All right. So let's see. Obviously, Brian Laundrie's body was scavenged and eaten by wild animals after the fugitive took his own life by a bullet to the head. I of course have to be careful with what I say here. Before it was discovered in a Florida swamp following a 6-week-long manhunt. All right. An autopsy report reveals. And we're going to look at this information, okay? Because there's, like I said, there's one key piece of information that I found a little funky. I find it a little strange. So we're going to get into that here shortly. When officials finally found Gabby Petito's killer, almost all that remained were apparent skeletal human remains that were scattered on top of dirt ground in plain sight. So on October 20th, 2021, at approximately about 8:20, okay, 8:20 a.m., search groups found a backpack and shoes that were identified as belonging to Brian Laundrie, according to the highly anticipated report released months after the 23-year-old's body was found in the expansive Carlton Reserve. In the report released by the Sarasota Medical Examiner's Office, investigators observed that Laundrie's personal belongings, quote unquote, personal belongings, which included a notebook in which Laundrie confessed to killing his fiancée as they traveled in the country in a van, were surrounded by apparent skeletal remains that were scattered on top of dirt ground in plain sight. The 47-page document, which is this autopsy and the forensics and everything, all right, that notes that Laundrie had been subject to moderately extensive carnivore activity evidenced by multiple gouging and gnawing marks on his corpse. So what we talked about before, when actually shout out to Bare Hands Baran, or Michael Baran of Wildlife Command Center. He came onto the show. We talked about this, right? We said, what are the possibilities of Brian Laundrie being able to get out there? If he was dead, why weren't there any buzzards flying over above? Why weren't there any telling signs of this man being out here in the swamps out here? And he basically said, hey, it would be very hard to find a body if there are alligators, there are birds, there are every other critter you can think of out there scavenging, looking for sustenance. A human body would definitely suffice to a certain extent, especially when you got, let's not forget, fish and other things as well. Hate to put in those gruesome details, but think about it for a second, right? And if he's been out there for weeks on end, and God knows when he actually unalived himself. That's a lot of time to be sitting in swamp or on dry land for animals to find you and to feed off of you. All right. So these areas are consistent with carnivores or omnivores, including canines such as feral dogs, coyotes, along with rodents and raccoons. And of course, we're going to be going into the autopsy itself. We've already seen, or we're going to see that here very, very shortly. Aside from the notebook, several other items were recovered from the dry bag near Laundrie's remains, which was found near his parents' Northport home, including a wooden box containing the journal, as well as several photos. Now, I know that some people, because I've been, looking around and checking things out, and I've noticed that there's been a lot of people wanting to know what's in the box. What's in the box? And honestly, it sounds just like what it's saying. Photos that contain this wooden box was containing photos of himself, probably Gabby, this journal that maybe there was a confession within that box as well. But both the skeletal remains and personal effects were in plain sight and scattered upon the dirt ground. According to the report, one of the snaps was a shot of Laundrie. It is not clear what the other photos showed. Now, the actual report, there's a lot of things that have been redacted. I'm assuming maybe some of these things are photos because I guess they wanted to keep those things personal. I don't know. The report confirmed that Laundrie died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, as police frantically searched for the man as the primary person of interest in the disappearance of 22-year-old Gabby Petito. Authorities also recovered the vast majority of Laundrie's skeleton. This is very important. This is very, very important because there were a lot of people out here sitting, and even myself, I'll be honest, even myself, I was sitting there going, wait a second. So you're telling me that there was only like a bottom jaw and then some teeth, and you're telling me that's it? That solved everything? That just made it, without a shadow of a doubt, Brian Laundrie confirmed him dead, right? Him dead, all y'all. Not so much. They didn't put out the rest of the information. The rest of the information says it right here. That there were a vast majority of Laundrie's skeleton. Aside from a few bones from his teeth and his face upon the discovery of the remains, the filing continues, adding that a toxicology report showed no sign of drug use before his demise. So he wasn't on drugs before anything went down. And I remember they didn't do drugs. They didn't drink. They didn't do drugs, allegedly. I've heard other stories that Gabby liked to, smoke a little bit, and I think he was straight edge. I don't know, right? These are all speculations. These are all rumors and stories, right? And I guess these will all perish now. The bombshell document further revealed that authorities recovered a pair of green shorts, shoes, a ring, a backpack, and a handgun from what was left of the savaged remains, which was partly concealed by the overgrown vegetation. The document said. I mean, they even said that there was like 3 feet of water. Like, it rained so bad, it was 3 feet of water covering everything up. So when the water finally came down, that's when they were able to find all of this stuff, including Brian Laundrie's skeleton. They found the bullet that took his life. They were able to, and they found the gun, of course. Very interesting, right? So near Laundrie's corpse, at an adjacent secondary scene, authorities recovered animal skeletal remains that suggested the self-professed killer had been hunting before his death, which is possible. I'll say this, which is very, very possible. Or it could have been another animal killing another animal, and then the remains just kind of floated around in that swamp. You got to put that into consideration as well. Maybe it floated around with him, you know what I mean, near him as well. Okay. So, and he could have been hunting for sure. But we've already found out that it's not like he was the most outdoorsy outdoorsman, right? That he was straight fronting, right? He was more of a glamper, a glorified glamper than an actual outdoorsy man. And we all said this. Right? Because there was, in the very beginning, we all assumed, well, he's super outdoorsy, he's probably a survivalist and all that stuff. We all had those speculations, right? All of us did. But later on to find out from his sister, he's okay. He's a moderate outdoorsman. I wouldn't sit there and say that he's Bear Grylls up in this biznai, right? But let's continue. Lawmen were also found an incomplete handwritten note. This is the half note that I'm talking about. Handwritten note at the secondary site, but it did not detail its contents, as well as a Moab coffee roaster's hat belonging to Laundrie that advertised the same Utah coffee shop where they were pulled over by the police for a domestic incident on the 12th of August, approximately 2 weeks before Petito was killed. And we all know that body cam footage. We all watched that like crazy, took a look at that, saw what was going down, and yeah. So they went there. He went shopping, said, I really like this hat, took it. Maybe it was a little a little trinket of something that made him very happy, a happy moment or something like that. Maybe it was a wonderful memory with Gabby. I don't know. But that was with him in his belongings as well. So the search for Petito began after Laundrie returned home, to his parents' home on September 1st. September 11th, Gabby's family reported her missing. 2 days later, her boyfriend vanished, or he went out on the run, right? Now, the question obviously still remains, how long had he been perished? How long had he died, right? From this point, from when he ran off. Was it that very day when he ran off? Was it weeks later? We don't know. Petito's family criticized the Laundries for not helping them. Her remains were soon uncovered in the Wyoming campground on September 19th. Now, we already know all this extra stuff, the body cam footage, the fact that the Moab police wished that they had been a little bit better at taking care of that particular situation, because they felt like maybe if that they did their standard procedure and maybe locked her up, maybe she'd still be alive right now as we speak, right? There is that speculation. But I can't really say much on that because, I mean, it's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda. What happened, happened. Yes, I wish they could have done something. I wish they could have done something. Just a little bit more. Just to change. And maybe the course of her life would have changed. Maybe. It could have. It could have. And it may not have as well. It could have gotten worse. Maybe she would have died earlier. We don't know, right? We do not know. But let's see what else here. Yeah. So, like I said, a lot of people were wondering what was in the box. What's in the box? And like I said, it was a small notebook. So there was 2 journals. He had 2 like notebooks. One small handbook, one small notebook, another journal, a half written note, and then of course within these pieces of information, he was basically saying, hey, he was confessing to taking this young woman's life. He confessed to it all. Now the thing is we got to go into the reports, okay? And there is one part that I found a little strange. I thought it was strange, but at the same time, let's just look at it. I mean, it is what it is, right? The man is no longer here. He has confessed to his death. I am not speculating any foul play with him. What is done, y'all. What is done is done. But there is a part here that I found very interesting, and it's about the gunshot wound to his head. All right. And this is the autopsy report, and this is for public release. You can see this. You can see it anywhere. It is out there for public viewing, so you can see this for yourself. All right. But this one part I found weird. Now, he is right-handed. I want to point that out. He is right-handed. All right, which is confirmed within the autopsy report and all that stuff. But one thing about this that I found strange, let me blow this up just a little bit more. It says, in summary, extensive fracturing, including blah, 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 fractures, okay. This part right here. The gunshot wound enters the left side of his head, causing an area of extensive fracturing where the majority of the left temporal bone is absent, along with extreme inferior aspects of the parietal bone and portions of the posterior left sphenoid wing. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. It is noted without definitive circular or semicircular defect or a beveling due to bone absence. So, presumed exact entrance point is centered in this defect and is estimated at approximately 5.8 centimeters below the top of the cranium, 5.5 centimeters above the left external auditory canal, and 6 centimeters left of midline. So this man is right-handed and he pulls the trigger with his left on the left side. Just saying, that seems a little strange to me, don't you think? Now, here's the thing. Okay. All right. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. So therefore, overall pathway or trajectory of gunshot wound is left to right, very slightly upward, and having little to no significant front-back deviation. So it's straight. It was just like this. Now, I'll say this. Thank you, Joseph. It is a little weird. What's up, man? Hope your baby's doing well. Both babies are doing well. Okay. But here it is. That's the piece that doesn't make sense to me. I'm not speculating anything weird. I'm not trying to sit here and say, oh, he was executed and then next thing you know, he was executed and then next thing you know, he was dragged out there and his parts were just spread throughout the swamp or that swampy area. No. I mean, it doesn't take it's not hard to pull a trigger on either finger or on either hand. But if you're using usually you'll use your dominant hand to do what you need to do, right? So it's contradictory to what naturally you would do. He took his left hand and did this. But I'll say this, though. I'll say this. One, it is not very hard. It is not very hard for someone to pull a trigger, left or right-handed. It's not. It's not hard to point a gun in a specific direction, right? There's the other thing. He could be ambidextrous. He could be able to do things with his left that his right can do. That could be it too. Now, I see openly avoidant. Let me see this. Wait. Whoops, wrong one. You guys are talking. Good. Thank you for the comments. Keep the comments rolling, but not always you'd be surprised. That's true. But if somebody's ambidextrous, you're able to do a lot of things, right? You know, I got a nephew that can do a lot of things with his left hand. His right hand is dominant, but he can do a lot of things with his left hand as well. You know, so I keep thinking, well, maybe it was just a thing. He just, maybe it was a swift move, right? I hate to say it like that. I don't want to talk about I don't want to sit around on this topic, this particular part very long, but you never know. I mean, it could have been swift, right? It was a swift thought and he did it. I just feel like if he was there trying to take in the swamp or take in nature and think about things and think about the wrongdoings he's done, I feel like he would have used his dominant hand. I hate to say it like that, but it is a little strange, don't you think? It's a little strange, y'all. So, of course, I'm not trying to say anything further than that. The man went out there, did what he did. He took care of himself through the left side of his body. And yet he's right-handed. That's just the thing that I find very strange about this. So, now, obviously, like one thing I want to show you guys as well as this, because they show us that there were multiple body parts, like multiple. They had a lot of body parts, a lot of skeletal remains. Let's just say that, because there was no flesh on these bones, right? So I wanted to show you guys that as well. Just look at this list. This is the skeletal inventory that they had. And it just goes. And I don't know how many bones that are in the human body. I don't. I kind of wish I did know. But and I know a quick Google search can give you that answer, but look at all this. And it just keeps going. Just keeps going and going. And there's a lot of people who sit there and go, oh no, there was only the mandible and some teeth. Anybody could have done this, that, and the third. A dentist could have done this, yada, yada, yada. But hey, guess what? You would have needed more than a dentist to do this. With all these bones, with all these pieces out of your body, you'd be dead. Thank you. Hey, watch this. 206 bones in the human body. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nurse P Chronicles as well. And Jennifer. Thank you guys so much. All right. 206 bones. Thank you, Tamika, as well. In the human body. Okay. So look at all this that they found. That were all Brian Laundrie's. That's a lot of bones. No one could survive that if they, like I said, there's conspiracy theorists out here that are sitting here going, oh, well, wait a second. He had friends that he had dentists as friends and stuff. And so therefore such and such the tide and the winds and, Venus is in retrospective. You know what I mean? No. All right. There's no way. Just to make that abundantly clear, there is no way somebody who can sit here and live through this. Okay? Just saying. Especially when they're talking about the brain and the skull and how they had to reconstruct his skull so that they can come up with the conclusion that how he did what he did. Okay? Mercury in retrograde. That's what I meant. Venus in retrograde, whatever. You know what I mean? But there it is. I get it that people are going to come up with their own suspicions, their own conspiracies and whatnot. But this fully shows you that they did a full skeletal inventory, every single bone that they found that they were able, let's just say, to find of him. They wrote it down. And this is a lot of bones. That's a lot of skeletal remains, y'all. I see some comments. Let me grab this really quick. I got Madeline Reed. Thank you so much for being a member for the last 11 months. Thank you so much. The DNA tested, multiple bones found to prove the ID. Absolutely. Thank you, Madeline. Absolutely. And of course, they had to get swabs from Roberta. Okay. And the dad, Chris. Yeah, I think it's Chris. I totally forgot. But Chris and Roberta Laundrie had to give them DNA so that they could go and make sure that this was a match. And it all came back saying these bones are, in fact, without a shadow of a doubt, Brian Laundrie's remains. Okay. Now, I saw another comment that I wanted to pull up here. What is this? There we go. Thank you so much, Lateef. However, to your perspective, most people subconsciously use their dominant hand. Thinking of his condition deteriorating, he likely had to use the hand with the most strength. Huh. Okay. That could be it too. That could very well be it. You know what? That's a good comment, Lateef. Thank you. Because we don't know where he was in his mind, right? We don't know where he was mentally, right? We don't know what was going on in his damn mind. We don't. We don't know how long he had been out there in the wilderness streets, as I say. We don't know how long he'd been in the wilderness streets for. He might have been there for a week with little to no sustenance at all. So that point is very good. Being out there in the wilderness, not having the right amount of sustenance, you maybe run out of water, so on and so forth. You can get very weak. You never know. He could have injured himself. Or, yeah, maybe he had to use his other hand to be able to do what he needed to do. I mean, it's still a terrible thing. It's terrible. It's terrible. But I don't sit here and say, oh, this is definitely, I don't see foul play. So I know some people are thinking, oh, you see the title, you see the thumbnail, and you automatically think that I'm trying to throw out some crazy speculation. No, I'm not. But I did find that strange that the entry wound, the gunshot entry, was on the left-hand side, and it's not on the right-hand side. That's the part that's just strange to me. You can speculate all you want, but like I said, I think that it's not hard to pull a trigger on either hand. That's what I think, especially if you have if you're on a mission. Let's just say that. If you're on a mission and you're just trying to get it done as quickly as you can, you're going to do what you need to do. Just saying, you're going to do what you need to do. and just knock it out. And maybe he could have been holding the bags in his right hand and he just pulled the gun out. That could be it too. Just saying. It's like I said, it's strange. It is strange, but some people, when they got to do it, they just do it, and they don't want to think about it. They don't want the pressure of thinking about it. Let's see here. Now, you know what? What I want to do is I want to pull up a little bit from WFLA. Did a report on this yesterday. Man, it sucks because I wanted to so badly. I wanted to talk about this yesterday so badly, but I did not have time. But there are pieces in here that I found from JB and Walt from WFLA News, and which I thought that was very interesting. And, you know, of course, we are going to speculate. We are going to ruminate. We are going to have our own theories and all that. I mean, you know, before I go into this video, and I might open up the phone lines briefly to talk about this. But I see nice try. Him dead. I'm sorry, but him dead. Okay. Now, this theory is still circulating like crazy. The idea that his father could have done it. True. That could very well be it. Hold on. That could, I mean, we got to exercise every theory, right? But let's look at this. Let's look at this one last time. There's a decent timeline here. So let me just throw this up really quick so you guys can see this. Let's run this one more time. Let's run this one more again, because we all know the timeline, but let's run it one more time. Okay. But I'm sorry. This young man is dead. It is confirmed. There's no way anybody, or I mean, they have a list of a whole bunch of skeletal remains. Unless you got Brian Laundrie walking out around here half deflated. I mean, there's just not, it's impossible. It's literally impossible. Him dead. Okay. But as far as the theory of dad doing the deed, right? Or anybody else, think about it. Let's think about it really quick. In the speculation world, all right? This is the far-fetched speculation world. So before y'all try to get angry at me, I'm just speculating. I'm running off of what you guys just commented in the comments on the side. And thank you so much to the fam for the comments. But here it is. What if it was the Petitos? I mean, shoot, it could have been anybody. All right? If somebody had done something to him. But I still think that he did the deed. I still think he did what he needed to do. Period, point blank. Done. He did it himself. That's what I think. But there are people out here that are going, wait a second. People are still sitting here going, wait a second. He shot himself on the left hand, but he's right-handed? That's weird. Blah, blah, blah. Just saying those things. So let's look at this timeline really quick, because people are speculating that maybe the dad did it. Now, one piece that I still don't know, we still don't know for me, like how long he had been dead for, right? How long did he do this deed? How long did it take for him to unalive himself, right? It took them 6 weeks to find this man. 6 weeks. So when did he unalive himself, right? So the search for Petito began when on September 1st, she was Brian Laundrie came back home. Gabby was not with him in the ride. She was still in Wyoming. You feel me? On the 11th of September, that's when they reported her missing, the family. 2 days later, her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, vanishes. disappears. Okay? The young couple had been on cross country, blah, blah, blah. He left their home on the 13th of September. We already know that, 2 days after her family on Long Island reported her disappearance. So 2 days. They reported her missing on September 11th, and then he went gone. He kicked rocks on the 13th. All right? Then Petito's family criticized the Laundries for not helping them, blah, blah, blah. They found her remains on the 19th of September. Okay. So then, on October 20th, if I'm correct, that's when openly avoidant, absolutely, yeah. The homie's dead and gone, like dead. Him dead, okay? He's dead, okay? But here it is, all right? They found him in October, but here's a timeline right here too. Oh, this is of Gabby Petito's death. Human remains were found, exactly, there it is. Human remains were found October 20th. Bang. Okay. So they found his body. They found the bag, the dry bag, and all the things that were contained inside that bag, and another bag that was there as well. That includes a new box, like a wooden box that contained a small notebook and some photos and other things, other personal knickknacks that were inside that wooden box. There was the bag. There was a book bag. All of this. Okay. So if he went missing, and see, I'm seeing people already saying it right now. Who said that? Good Grandma says the 13th is the date when it happened. A lot of people are speculating that when he went missing on the 13th of September is the day that everything went down, where he either unalived himself or someone unalived him for him. Now, is that the Pops that did it? I don't think so. But here's the thing, though. You got the Petito family feeling some type of way. I mean, I hate to put that speculation out there, but if you are the father of Gabby Petito, or the parent, I'm sorry, of Gabby Petito, you don't know where she is. You know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, that the boyfriend has something to do with it. Once you put your paws on him, I'm sorry, I wouldn't want to, I'm not talking about, muerte, okay? I ain't talking about that. But at the same time, I would want to put my paws on him. So I would instantly want to, you know what I'm saying? Be like, man, give me 15 minutes with this man in a room. You know what I'm saying? In a soundproof room. And I'll get him to tell us where our daughter is. You see what I'm saying? But one thing I do find very interesting, because Latif said something I found very interesting. Thank you so much, Latif, for the comments. And all y'all, thank you so much for the comments. But here it is. Too much coverage around the parents. I disagree on that, Latif. You want to know why? We are all sitting here wondering, what will the parents say? What about the Laundries? What the Laundries, the parents of Brian Laundrie, have they said anything? Hey, by the way, they have not said one damn thing so far. Now, they don't need to. They don't need to say anything because that's their legal right. But at the same time, they have not said one damn thing. All they've been wanting is Brian Laundrie's belongings. That's all they want. They want his notebook. They want his stuff. That's it. Which could obviously make some people wonder, why do they want his belongings so badly? We don't know. But parents haven't said one damn thing. The Petitos have been out, rightfully so, getting out here, trying to get the narrative out there, trying to do good, use her death as a positive, help bring other missing people back home to safety, right? unearthing cold cases in hopes to bring some people to justice or bring people home, which I give them mad props for. But the Laundries haven't said not one thing. And Lateef, you're right. The people are watching the Laundries. They're watching Brian Laundrie's parents. But what are they doing? Not much anything at all. If they ever were to come out and do a press briefing, if they were ever to come out and tell their story with a Oprah or Barbara Walters type person or a Gayle King type thing, man, you know for a fact I'll be in front row center eating popcorn and enjoying hearing the lies that are coming out their mouth. But they have yet to do anything or to say anything revolving around this situation. In fact, from the WFLA, they tried the reporters from WFLA, they tried to reach out to Bertolino, Baloney Bertolino. Remember that? Baloney Bertolino. They tried to reach out to the dude. And he came back saying no comment. After the autopsy, these new details that came out, they were like, he's like, no comment. They don't have anything to say. And it's going to be like that forever. I really think that their side of the story will remain a mystery. They're not going to say anything. Maybe they do know more stuff. We don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. But Roberta and Chris Laundrie won't say one damn thing. They ain't going to say nothing, y'all. Their lawyers might have advised them to say anything. Yep. And that's their legal right. See what I'm saying? It's their legal right to not say not one damn thing. And it sucks, doesn't it? Don't it? Don't it suck? It kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. Let's keep it straight funky. It sucks because we want to hear from their firsthand experience of what happened. And we already know they went to another campgrounds just before he disappeared. He went off and kicked rocks into these wilderness streets. What was that information? What was that conversation all about? Sister ain't said nothing. Sister hasn't said nothing except for the fact that he might not be the best outdoorsman in the world, the way that we have all been speculating him to be. Oh boy. It's nuts. Then also at the same time, they asked for other things like the police, FBI and the people who are investing in getting into this case were asking for more information, right? They were asking for more information from the family, asking what his social life was like. If he maybe, which in the way I took it as, like if he hung out with certain groups, what online forums, chat forums did he go to? You see what I'm saying? Maybe he was an extremist. Maybe he wasn't. They were just trying to find out more information, more background information about Brian Laundrie. Because right now, it's still very much like a toss-up. Who was this guy? What happened to this guy? Who is this guy? And I feel like that's going to be a question that we will always have in the back of our minds forever. Okay? Now, you know what? I'm going to open up the phone lines this time, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. I mean, obviously, this will be a story, I think, that we will talk about forever. And that's what sucks about this. Instead of us actually finding out the truth of what actually went down, until the parents actually come out and give their own account of what went down, there's going to be pieces that are still going to be a mystery. And I get it. people, let me just tell this to you, fam. I'm ready. I've been ready for this chapter, this story to be closed, sealed, closed, done. Okay? I've been ready. But it keeps on coming back. I think I said it on the last stream that I did about Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. I was like, okay, hopefully this is the final. Hopefully this is the final. We are done now. And then bang, more Ish comes out and is like, oh my God. Now he's a right-handed guy. His dominant hand is his right hand, yet he shoots himself with his left hand. Why does that even happen? But then there's a lot of things that have been fully confirmed. Skeletal remains, more than just a lower jaw and a couple teeth, because people are out here speculating that, oh, a dentist could just rip out his teeth and so on and so forth. No, it's been confirmed. He is dead. Without a shadow of a doubt, he is no longer here on this planet. And he did it by using a gun. One thing before I open up the phone lines, there is a piece here. Let me find it really quick. There is a piece here where they talk about the actual gun. This is the thing that didn't make sense to me. This is the part that didn't make any sense to me. Let me just find that real quick. From my understanding, it was a snub nose revolver. Just trying to find that real quick. Sorry, guys. Where the hell is it? Hold on, guys. Where is it? You know what? Actually, I know that WFLA, yeah, it's a 38, but this is some weird stuff. Like the way it was the 38 to a something. It was strange, but they did say it in the WFLA thing. So let me show you guys the WFLA feed real quick. They did a great job. I mean, WFLA has been doing a great job with covering this whole thing. As you already know, we've seen it on this show. I've streamed it on this show so many different times. But they did talk about this here. I want to show a little bit of this. But it is, man, they did a great job. They combed through this whole thing, break it down beautifully and all that. But there's a part about this gun thing that's very strange to me. Let's take a listen.
The full document here. We've been reading through folks on the internet.
Toxicology. I think we had asked people, well, did they do a drug screen? Did they do a toxicology? And they did. And there were no drugs found in Brian's system. But again, that information was not finalized until the 4th of February. So that, people, again, that can, not to speak to those folks, but again, theoretically, why did it take so long? Well, maybe it didn't take that long relatively to everything. It's a very detailed report, 47 pages long. And again, like you said, including a lot of details. I'm taking really focused on that wooden box. Contained a small notebook and photographs. Quoting here, some of the photos include Brian Laundrie, which could give you, obviously, when they come up on the scene and they see a body, they're looking for a body, and they see a box, it's got the suspect's picture in it. They probably had a pretty good idea of who it was at that moment.
And the note, we're going to talk about the notebook for a moment, folks. We want to let you know you can use the hashtags you see on the yellow stripes, and those folks, who have just continuously asked questions. And there's no question bigger than why. Why did this happen? So people want to know where we are in the story. And even though Tito instead stay dry.
So is that piece of paper the handwritten half note? It doesn't really clarify, but regardless, it had to be important enough that they mentioned it, right?
Yeah, and
it had to have some writing on it,
right? So you have the Which trying to get at?
Did the journal get confused?
Gotta love that. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get to the gun part.
Right,
Okay.
because we have a journal and a small notebook. Now, again, I noted this on Twitter.
Who wrote this part of the report. I was informed that a dry bag was located that contained a journal along with a wooden box that contained a small notebook and a photographic picture of Brian Laundrie. I was advised there were additional photographic pictures, but the contents were undisclosed to me at this time.
Yep. And then if you go now to page 2 of the second report, it says, we are informed that an apparent dry bag was located in another area approximately 250 feet southwest of the main area, which contained a journal along with a wooden box that contained a small notebook and photographs, some of the photos, including that of Brian Laundrie.
2 bags. 2 dry bags were found. Like I said, 2 dry bags were found.
So, okay. So why is this important? People explain, okay, journal, notebook, handwritten half note. Why is this important? Because the biggest answer that you at home are still seeking is why Brian killed Gabby Petito. Again, according to the FBI.
Thing happened that pushed Brian over the edge, but we don't know what that is. And we don't know whether he revealed that in his note. And I think people want to know that. They want that answer. And in another part of the report, we see that spent round of ammunition was found, or the bullet, if you will, had.
Hold on, I'm rolling this back. This is the part I think
doesn't counterintuitive, right? So here's what we know about the gun.
Okay.
Well, some of those details.
Well, so he's right-handed, but he shot himself, according to this, in the left side of his head, which doesn't counterintuitive, right? So here's what we know about the gun, and this is interesting.
Right here is the part that I'm talking about. This gun, it's weird, but okay.
We're calling it a 38 caliber, a 38 special. The firearm was a European American Arms 38 special, 38 caliber, on barrel. 357 Magnum, other side of barrel. I don't know what that means, except it sounds like it's an amalgamation of 2 guns. And based upon the markings and appearance, the firearm was a Windicator revolver. The cylinder contained 2 live rounds and 1 spent round of ammunition. And in another part of the report, we see that spent round of ammunition was found, or the bullet, if you will, had traveled, not to be too gruesome, through Mr. Laundrie's skull, one side to the other, it says in the report, cleanly, and then was found 50 to 60 feet away in, quote, 6 inches of dirt by a detective.
Okay. So I'm going to roll that back a little bit. I'm not a gun expert at all either. But it does sound a little strange how this gun is the measurements and whatever. It just seems really, really weird. But I'm going to try this, play this again.
Caliber. Intuitive, right? So here's what we know about the gun, and this is interesting. We're calling it a 38 caliber, a 38 special. The firearm was a European American Arms 38 special, 38 caliber, on barrel. 357 Magnum, other side of barrel. I don't know what that means.
So see, that's the thing that doesn't make any sense.
357 Magnum, other side of barrel.
357 Magnum on the other side of the barrel. And I don't get that. I don't get that. And then, yeah, it's weird.
I don't know what that means, except it sounds like it's an amalgamation of 2 guns. And based upon the markings and appearance, the firearm was a Windicator revolver. The cylinder contained 2 live rounds and 1 spent round of ammunition.
1 spent live round, obviously, because he did what he did, right?
And in another part of the report, we see that spent round of ammunition was found, or the bullet, if you will, had traveled, not to be too gruesome, through Mr. Laundrie's skull, one side to the other, it says in the report, cleanly, and then was found 50 to 60 feet away in, quote, 6 inches of dirt by a detective.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to roll that back one more time, because that piece of information is strange as hell to me. Okay? Just saying.
I see that are
the gun, and this is interesting. We're
Right
calling
here.
it a 38 caliber, a 38 special. The firearm was a European American Arms 38 special, 38 caliber
Okay.
on barrel. 357 Magnum, other side of barrel. I don't know what that means.
Neither do I, but I'm running this again because I need you guys to hear this. This is the part that doesn't make sense to me. Okay. This is the piece that's very strange to me. I'm not trying to speculate anything, but the physics ain't working for me. Okay. The science isn't working for me. And I'll explain here in a second. Unless something else went down. Okay.
Except it sounds like it's an amalgamation of two guns. And based upon the markings and appearance, the firearm was a Windicator revolver. The cylinder contained 2 live rounds and 1 spent round of ammunition. And in another part of the report, we see that spent round of ammunition was found, or the bullet, if you will, had traveled, not to be too gruesome, through Mr. Laundrie's skull.
Of course.
One side to the other, it says in the report, cleanly, and then was found 50 to 60 feet away in, quote, 6 inches of dirt by a detective.
How does a bullet (50 to 60 feet away in the dirt? I'm sorry. I do, because I know people get upset when I get my Nancy Grace on, but I'm not trying to get my Nancy Grace here. Think about that math one more time. I'm going to play this one more time. I'm rolling it back just a tiny bit. Something ain't right here. The physics ain't physicking with me, okay? The physics ain't working for me here. Does that work? Because I understand what goes up must come down, right? I get if a bullet goes, it eventually loses its acceleration and goes down. But how does a bullet stop so quickly? Why does it drop and lose acceleration that quickly? Like I said, I'm not a physics major. I'm not some I ain't no scientist. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to science this, but that does not make sense here. Okay? That doesn't make any sense here. So I'm looking at your comments. I'm wondering what's going on here. Anyway. Now I understand. Yes. Northern Akashic healer. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. You ain't wrong. The human skull is very thick. It is. It's there to protect the brain. We just discussed this about the Bob Saget saga, right? It could be a typo, Lateef. It sounds like a mistake. It could be a typo. It could be. But I feel like this is autopsy reports. This is forensics, all that. They don't forget to put in the certain things that they need to put in. I'm going to roll this back one more time, and I'm going to tell you guys, does this make sense to you? Think about it. It went down and was found 50 yards away in 6 inches of dirt. How does a bullet that is traveling through one piece lose its acceleration that quickly? 50 yards away. Down. Like I said, it does seem a little strange to me, but like I said, I'm not a physics major. I'm not a rocket scientist. Shoot, I ain't even great at math, but it does seem strange. And then what he says in the very beginning, it's a 38 with a 357 Magnum end. What does that make? That doesn't make sense either. But I am not a gunsmith, nor am I a weapons expert. So anybody who's out here that knows they guns, please let me know. Okay. Oh, I see. Well, apparently there was only 3. We're going to play it again, but from my understanding, there was only 3 bullets in the gun. He shot off 1 bullet, and that's the bullet that took his life. That's from what I got, Lateef. Maybe. But let's listen to it one more time. Like I said, whew, let's look at this again.
Doesn't counterintuitive, right? So here's what we know about the gun, and this is interesting. We're calling it a 38 caliber, a 38 special.
We're going to go piece by piece here. 38 caliber. He says 38 special. Later on, they say it's a snub-nose revolver, but let's continue.
The firearm was a European American Arms 38 special, 38 caliber, on barrel. 357 Magnum, other side of barrel.
Now, maybe the gun handle was a 357 Magnum handle. Maybe that's what they're pertaining to. That's the part I don't get. I'm sorry, but I'm putting it out there. We're putting it out there. Let's go.
I don't know what that means.
Neither do I.
Except it sounds like it's an amalgamation of two guns. And based upon the markings and appearance, the firearm was a Windicator revolver. The cylinder contained 2 live rounds and 1 spent round of ammunition. And in another part of the report, we see that spent round of ammunition was found, or the bullet, if you will, had traveled, not to be too gruesome, through Mr. Laundrie's skull, one side to the other, it says in the report, cleanly.
From left to right,
and then was found 50 to 60 feet away in, quote, 6 inches of dirt.
50 feet away, 50 feet away in 6 inches of dirt. And Abby Starr, thank you so much for becoming a member. I saw that. I didn't get a chance to do it. Thank you so much, Abby Starr, for becoming a member of the family. Your support is extremely appreciated. Thank you so very much. Welcome to the roller coaster ride called the Pascal Show. All right. Please, guys, do not forget to hit that like button down below. Send those likes all the way up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. All right. We are marching our way towards 100,000 subscribers. So if you can help me get closer to that goal, I'd be very appreciative. Okay, but here it is. Gunshot goes through the left, out the right. I'm sorry to say it like this. Then it goes 50 feet. Just 50 feet. And then is found in 6 inches of dirt. Is this the real... Is that the bullet, though? That makes me wonder, is that the bullet? That could have been any bullet, right? I've got words you got right. You're right. People modify their guns all the time. So it could be some special modified type of gun, right? That could very well be it, too. This is one I wish we could see an actual photo of the actual gun. That's what I would want to see, right? But he does the thing, right? He pulls the trigger, goes through the left, goes out the right, but it only goes 50 feet. And remember, the acceleration of a bullet is fast. It's serious. It's going to slow down at some point. And if he was, I hate to do that, but if he's shooting in an angle like this, straight ahead, right? Would it lose its acceleration in 50 feet? Like, would it just drop 50 feet or drop and lose its acceleration that quickly? I just don't know. Personally, I just don't know. Shooting into a hillside would affect the depth of recovery. That's very true too. Now that's right. Maybe it could be different levels of land. That could be it as well. You're very, very right. But see, that's just a little strange to me, don't you think? Regardless, and of course, we're not there. We're not in the area. We can't see that stuff with our own 2 eyes. So I can't really say much more than what I'm saying right now. But you know, it does seem a little strange, right? Just a tiny bit, just a wee little bit. You know what I mean? No disrespect to nobody, but that does seem just a little strange. But I still think what is done is done. He did what he did, right? I don't think that just because he was shot on the left side does not mean that he could not do it himself, right? But it is strange that the mathing here, right? seems a little strange. Now, if it is a hillside, yes, most definitely could be possible. Like the gun, or the terrain that he was at. Maybe there was a little bit of a a hill or something like that, going into like a higher terrain. I don't know, and maybe that's where the bullet got caught into there 50 feet away. That's very possible as well. But if it's just straight land, right? If it's just straight terrain, flat terrain, let's just say that bullet would continue going. Just as far as the laws of physics and acceleration, that bullet would still continue going, and then it would drop at some point. But not 50 feet away. 50 feet is extremely close, unless there was a tree to stop it. You got to remember, the bullet's going this way like this. The bullet doesn't go like that. It goes until it loses acceleration, and then it drops, or until it hits something. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. That's just the part that doesn't make sense to me. But hey.
By a detective. So that what is that? Some gun expert out there might say, oh yeah, you could combine a 38 special with a 357. I don't know that, but that's the sort of weapon we had. And you were telling me we lose track of the details we know and we don't know. And you were telling me we didn't know that the caliber of the weapon. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no, we had heard, of course, that it was a revolver. We didn't know the caliber of weapon that was used. We do know that there was one firearm missing from the Laundrie home. And of course, that is believed to be the firearm that was taken from the home.
Okay. And that's good enough for me there. That's good enough for me. But that's the piece that when I was listening to this the other day or yesterday, that's the piece for me that I was like, hey, this is not making sense. The math ain't mathing for me right here. You got a man that takes his life, that unalives himself by using a firearm. He uses his left hand to do the deed. Then when the bullet is found, it's found only 50 feet away from him. Now, there are possibilities like someone just commented, and I do appreciate that comment. That could very well be what it is too. I'm not trying to speculate or push a narrative to make things weird, all right, to make things worse. I do think that he did what he did. He confesses to the murder of Gabby Petito. That's what it is, right? What's done is done. But that part does seem a tidbit strange to me. I got the phone lines open. I would love to hear your thoughts on all this for a few minutes. By all means, you can give me a call, 314-766-4581. Would love to hear your thoughts on all this because, like I said, it is just a very interesting series of events. And of course, I feel like this nips things in the bud, right? This officially closes the chapter of what goes on until somebody actually comes up and says, hey, I did it, or something like that. You know what I mean? Or the parents actually step up and say something. I feel like this closes a gigantic chapter. He wasn't on drugs. He wasn't doing anything, any crazy pharmaceuticals or anything like that, right? He wasn't popping no pills. He wasn't doing anything like that. He really did go out into the swamps and unalived himself out there. It's sad. But at the same time, he confesses to killing Gabby Petito. It is written in notebooks. It's written in a half-written note that they found. So it closes that chapter. Yes, it doesn't bring Gabby Petito back home, but at least it does bring a closure to this story. So my phone number is up there, 314-766-4581. Give me a call. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts? Does this suffice? Does this answer all your questions, or do you feel like there are questions that are not that haven't been answered? That this still sparks more questions? Of course, the left-hand side thing seems weird to me, but to me, I think what's done is done. Hey, you're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello? That's weird. I can't hear you. Hold on 1 second, guys. Hold on. Hello? That's so strange. Hold on. I'm sorry. I can't hear you at all. Hello?
Hello.
There we are. Hello. I had some issues there. Sorry about that. Thank you so much. You're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Pascal. This is Nurse P Chronicles. How are you?
Oh, nice to meet you. I'm good. I'm good. So what's your thoughts on this? What's on your mind? Speak on it.
I think it's strange. I think it's going to be one of these things that we're going to never know every aspect of what happened. But I think a couple of strange things that stood out for me that I put in the chat is for him to have a GSW to the skull at close range, and I'm ambidextrous. I use both hands, and you have to think about, your mind has to overthink to use your other extremity that you want to use evenly when you use it, which makes you sometimes might want to rethink your action.
Right.
Like, am I really going to go through with this? But I think he has some issues, more like psychological issues that was going on in those novels he was reading. I have 3 teenage boys. They read some of those same novels sometimes, and
True.
I had to look at it. So maybe he was performing a ritual when he used the other hand. Who knows? We don't know. We'll never know.
Yeah, I think I really do think that this is going to be a story that all of us will still have questions, right? All of us will still be like, hey, what actually went down here? What's up with this and all that? And I feel like that's what this is all about, which sucks. That's the downfall of this whole case, right? This whole case that we've been covering for months is that we will never get a full answer fully. And that frustrates the hell out of me. I don't know about you, but it frustrates the hell out of me.
It does, but that's my personal opinion, because I just think that he was acting, by him using the other hand, in my mind, when I heard you say it, I think in the contents that were found with the body, I think he was thinking about, like, I know he was a grown man, but I have boys about his age, and they're still in the teenage state of mind. I think those novels he was reading was a heavy influence on him. And I think in my mind, he was acting out. Like, he messed up when he did that to Gabby.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out in a bang in my immature mind. So let me act out one of my novels. So who knows, if we were to read into one or type in one of those novels, maybe that's a way one of those characters in a novel. Or maybe the novel he was writing. Wasn't he writing a novel, if I'm not mistaken? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if he was writing a novel, but I know he's an artist. So maybe there, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, there's so many different questions or so many different rumors that have been, out here talking about him and what he's done and what he was going to do, and yes, the books and all that too as well. I mean, there's a lot of people speculating like crazy, but I gotta jump to the next phone call. But I do appreciate your phone
you
call.
have a good one, and I really enjoy your content. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay. Hey, you're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, Pascal. My name is Megan. I'm calling from Nebraska.
Hey, Megan from Nebraska. What's up? What's on your mind? Speak on it.
Well, I'm actually sitting here thinking more and more, like, I believe that his parents knew what he was going to do.
Oh, okay. I don't disagree. I do not disagree with that. I actually do think that I think that they knew what was going down, what he was going out there to do. That's what I think too. That's what I think. But I don't know.
Why would they have the little family reunion and then he's missing for a day and then they just go get the car and bring it back home? Like, didn't even look for him.
That's a good question. They didn't do anything. But then there's also people speculating, like what they said in the chat, that maybe maybe Pops went out there with him and did the deal. You know what I mean? Did the deed. I'm sorry. But then it may not have been. I mean, okay, this is the weirdest, craziest. This is me going off on a deep end. So just ride with me on this idea real quick. This is a wild idea, but what are the chances of both families working together to bring justice for Gabby? What if they understood what was going down? They did what they needed to do. Somebody, I don't know. It just seems so strange. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm making wild speculations here, but it's just like you could see in Gabby Petito's father's eyes that he would take someone's life for his daughter.
Right.
You can tell he was no nonsense. He was about to put a hurting to this boy. What are the chances if he actually did do the hurting? I'm just saying, I hate to put that speculation out there. It's a wild idea, but it's just so strange that one moment he's there, she's reported missing. 2 days later, this dude gone, and then he's just found weeks later, decayed to skeletal remains with a gunshot wound to the left side of his head. It just seems weird, man. I don't know. It's just weird. Could have gone execution style. I don't know, but it's just very strange. But I don't want to put that out there and make people think things or make people think that I'm saying something that I'm not even trying to say here. But it doesn't. You can't blame any person out here that's reading the forensics and autopsy reports. You can't blame them for thinking this after reading those things. Just going, how did this happen?
The whole case is strange, but I think personally it's a stretch to sit there and say that his dad would actually off him. I mean, you're talking about your own kid.
Right. Right. And you can see that he would go to great lengths. Right. He's sitting there going like, right, don't even ask me questions about my thoughts on Brian. Like, you know what I mean? Because he's like, bruh, you don't want to know. You see what I'm saying? I have the streets out here on his ass. Right.
Right.
And what if the streets were out there on his ass? I'm just saying. Right. But here's the other piece too. The family met up at a campsite, at another campsite. Dog the Bounty Hunter exposed that piece of information, right? Why were they all camping with the whole family? Where Brian got to see his niece and nephews from his sister. He got to see his sister, all that stuff. Could that have been his way of saying goodbye? Could that have been him saying, hey, I'm going away and I'm not coming back. I'm just letting you guys know. And they have their tearful goodbye and he leaves. What if? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think.
He just
I don't think that the sister necessarily knew because she was only there for like a day, but I think that the parents might have known. And so they just said, well, let's invite him for a barbecue and you can, hang out with him one more time.
Yeah. And have his last goodbye. I mean, that's what I think.
I mean, his parents come across to me as being just as, I don't know how you put it, just as lame as Brian was, as far as like not wanting to take accountability for what had happened. And, I think that they were just like, you go do what you got to do.
True. Lateef just said something here too. That caught my eye. He said, this could be dark, but I can see the dad catching up the BL in a dilapidated condition and BL allowing the dad to get it over with. That is a theory too. Like I'm saying, have you seen Old Yeller? Have you read Of Mice and Men or seen the movie with Gary Sinise in it? Look at the flowers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Look at the flowers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a possibility too. I don't know. I just feel like, look at the flowers, Lenny. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You haven't read the book, read the book. That's a damn good book. But anyway,
I love that book.
That's high school reading. But that's high school literature. But anyway, that is a possibility. But I feel like the family would, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like that evidence would be there. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the evidence would be there that would lead back to the father. If the father did what we're speculating here. Like I said, this is all speculation. All right. What we have are the facts, right? Brian Laundrie is indeed gone. His skeletal remains were obtained. And there's no way he could be running around half a body, right?
Yeah.
There's no way. So, and it's not like they can manufacture fake bones that match him genetically. So he's dead. But what are you going to say? I'm sorry.
Well, and the other thing that you were talking about with the bullet being so far away from the body, you have to remember he was underwater. And so with the water, the bullet casing isn't going to be that heavy. It could be carried as the water receded, and it could also go down into the dirt more,
That's true too. That's the part of the physics that doesn't make sense to me, because it almost seems as if the gun was fired in a downward angle. Then that's the way I look at it, that this bullet traveled only 50 feet and was found 50 feet away in 6 inches deep in dirt. That seems strange to me. Physics wise, that doesn't make sense to me. Even if he was kneeling and he did what he did and he did it himself, still doesn't work for me. If he was standing and doing it, still doesn't work for me, because acceleration and all that. I get that there's a little bit of drag, if you will, going through something, if you get what I'm saying, especially through a skull, right? But still, it's 50 feet. That's
but do you see what I'm saying? How like the water as it recedes could have carried that casing, away from him.
True. You're saying the bullet.
Yeah.
The actual bullet, not the casing.
Obviously, when it happened, it wasn't flooded or anything, and then they got all that rain, and it totally could have shifted everything around.
That's very true.
Because he said it was like 6 inches, 8 inches of water at one time.
Yeah. Man, so many questions, man. So many questions. I don't know if we'll ever get the full answers to this, unfortunately. But thank you so much for coming on to the show and calling in. I really do appreciate it. I'm gonna have to let you go,
thank
unfortunately.
you. I'll be in your neck of woods this weekend, so
Oh, right on.
yeah.
Yeah. Enjoy the city. It's a great time. All right.
Yeah, I will.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I think I'm gonna close up the phone calls. And I do appreciate everybody calling in and being a part of the conversation. That really does mean a lot. There's so many questions, of course, that will still linger, right? We don't know everything as of yet. We don't. We know that this man is no longer here. We know that they obtained more than just a jawbone and some teeth. They found skeletal remains, multiple body parts, to confirm that this man is no longer here. They found contents, his personal belongings, and within his personal belongings, notebooks that were admitting to the crime that he committed, which is killing the alleged love of his life. He had a gun, a .38 revolver. From my understanding, it was a snub nose revolver. He ended up using that to take his own life. The bullet was found 50 feet away in 6 inches of dirt. Very interesting as well. But still, no matter what, there is confirmation. Brian Laundrie did take that young woman's life, and then he went and did what he did to himself as well. That's what's confirmed. For me, that's what I think. Until we actually hear from somebody else, if somebody comes forward and says, I know the truth of everything and this, that, and the third, until we actually hear from the parents, we hear the truth from the parents, this is what we're going to get for right now. Now, will the parents ever speak up? That's a good question. I don't think they ever will, unless they're really strapped for cash. That's what I think. Real talk, because imagine what kind of money they would get if they actually wrote a book or actually went and did a sit-down exclusive interview. You don't think that the teams on these certain networks wouldn't pay every last dollar to get them to sit down and actually publicly say something about this? Their opinions about everything that went down? People would pay top dollar for that. That book would fly off the shelf if they were to decide to do something like that. But right now, we just got to sit back and wait and see if they're going to do something and see if they're going to talk. It sucks, but this is what we know so far. And crazy that came out on Valentine's Day, of all things. It's kind of sad, but like I said, we will only know more as time progresses. But in my mind, this closes the chapter on the Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie story until we get more information, right? And until the family, because the Petitos have already come out and said their piece. We've heard their side multiple times, but we have yet to hear from the Laundries. So it's only a matter of time when they actually step forward. And I'll say this too. We don't have to get the story directly from the parents. We can also get the story directly from the sister as well. Let's not forget, he had a sibling, or he has a sibling that's still on this planet with children. She has a husband. You don't think that, hey, somebody's willing to throw a couple mil in their way? They're not willing to get in front and tell their first handful story of what went down? Only time can tell. But again, this still closes a chapter on the Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie tragedy. So, Nurse P Chronicles, thank you so much for the $1 super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So anyway, guys, that's the story. That's the show today. I really do appreciate all y'all for being on, being a part of this journey. As more things come out, I'll be breaking it here on the show. I was late on this one. I know this one broke yesterday in the middle of the afternoon, but we had another big story that we were talking about. And even that story is still developing. Right? April C., you ain't wrong. The movie is coming out anytime soon. There's been documentaries coming out the woodwork. All right. I'm even in a documentary covering this whole thing on Peacock. All right. Plenty of documentaries floating all over the place. It gonna happen. All right. Because this is still a strange and crazy story and tragic story. But we'll see what happens. Because you know for a fact, how does Roberta and Chris Laundrie, how will they be able to make money? Because I don't know if these places are jobs and stuff are going to be willing to hire the father or the mother. I'm just wondering, you know what I mean? There's kind of a dark shadow, right? That's been casted over that couple. So I wonder if they're going to have a hard time getting a job. And if that happens, you know for a fact, if they're that desperate for money, boom. You know for a fact, people going to be throwing money at them. Next thing you know, they're going to be going, okay, our perspective. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens here. Anyway. Ooh, let me get that really quick. Jennifer White, thank you so much. I'm back in the stream. Trajectory was likely downwards, so the bullet traveled through the skull and ended up driving into the dirt at 50 feet. The dirt stopped its acceleration. I see that piece, but I'll say it again. And if it was shot in a downward angle, how does one? I don't know. It just seems a little strange. But like I said, that is just a speculation. It has been confirmed that it was, from what they say, it was a self-inflicted GSW. So when more information comes out, we will break it right here and talk about it even more. But this does close the chapter. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. I appreciate all y'all for being on. Please do me a favor. Do not forget to hit that like button down below. Send those likes past 300 likes. That would really, really mean a lot. And of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. All right. And share this feed. If you enjoyed it, share this feed. All right. We're working towards 100,000 subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button and share this show. That would really, really mean a lot. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Until next time, be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. I'll see you guys very soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
You're going to perform tonight. I can't make this interview boring because this man is too exciting as a host. And I'm truly saying this, and if y'all can't do this, me and this man here is going to leave and go somewhere else where we can get some love. I want everyone in the building to say, I love Pascal on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow.
Homeowners and property managers, if you're looking for effective and humane ways to remove wild animals and deal with the damage that they have caused, we have good news for you. Introducing Wildlife Command Center. We are the only wildlife company that checks 70 different areas on a structure to determine the answers to the following questions. For more information, call us now.